And I mean, with cleaning goes hand in hand hygiene. What's your take on like hygiene in the workplace?
Hygiene in the workplace. I think that's probably a scary thing if people really understood what mostly goes out there. So I'll give you an example. We talk about cross contamination. I don't hear anybody in our industry from our clients, or at least when we introduce these ideas, they're kind of like mind blown. You can just see them processing when I say it. And I say, hey, let's look at your janitorial closet and let's see if we can tell the difference between the cloth that cleans your toilets and urinals and the cloth that cleans your telephones. And they're like, oh my goodness, I don't want to see that, and to say, well, that's not acceptable, and so I sometimes call it the cleaner closet cringe. They're like, we don't want to go in there. You open the door and we kind of both look and see. So how can a mop be sitting in a dirty water, creating bacteria, and that's going to go clean your floors? Unacceptable. And properly managing, safety data sheets and just all the materials that are on there, to people taking responsibility for that. What about the mop that cleans the washrooms? And then, they turn on and take that same mop and same mop water and they go clean the cafeteria, the kitchen. 5-second rule does not count when that happens. And so those are things that to us, we're always looking for ways from a cross-contamination. See, our industry is often treated as a commodity. It's just the cheapest price. It's just labor. But it does take a little bit more, not a lot more, but it does take a little bit more, to do things correctly with the correct products, procedures, and to slow it down a little bit to make sure that the math and the human nature is in line, and to make a plan that truly does work. And so, clean, healthy environments. See, we don't get rated. I wish we could get rated as an industry of what we can do in a work environment when we can actually minimize sick days. We'd get a raise as a company if we were able to do that, to monetize that. And well, how much is it worth to you to not only have not as many people off sick, so we're actually capturing that infectious disease that's kind of going throughout. We're minimizing it. We may not be able to remove it, but we minimize it. But how much is that worth that somebody else who's sick that passes that to you, and now you take that home to your family and to your children and to your wife, and you start that whole process at home, and the stress level for everybody increases. And so I don't think the industry is served very well that way. I think that we make some pretty good initiatives. Personal disease control centers, another aspect that we've launched to encourage people to take more control of their own environment. So that's how we think. What's the weakness of the industry? How do I want to be treated? Treat others the way you want to be treated. And I like to think that my telephone didn't get washed with the same cloth that washed the urinal.
Yeah.
And that. So all these things that we talk about from a philosophy. Do you see how they're interwoven?
Oh, 100%.
They weave into, and they ultimately make our personality and our operation methods and our thinking and our culture. So personally and professionally.
Yeah.